What is anarcho-tyranny, and what does it have to do with the recent Canadian gun ban? Hey, Canadian Renegade here. So today I want to talk about anarcho-tyranny, which is it's like a type of political control or a political system, and it's something that I heard about, I'd say about a year ago. And when I heard about it, it really struck a chord with me. I was like, wow, this does seem to be what we're under here in Canada and most of the Western world. And I thought, people really need to start learning this term and understanding what it means, because it really does describe what we're living under. And then when I heard about the recent gun ban, it popped back into my mind as something that should be shared or discussed with people. So I was doing research on anarcho-tyranny and trying to come up with a clear and concise definition to share with you guys. And I thought, I've been experimenting with AI recently, and I thought, well, maybe I'll type it into one of these AIs and see if it gives me a nice little summary of what anarcho-tyranny is. So I put it into Leo AI, which is part of the Brave browser. And just as an aside, I would recommend that you use the Brave browser for the majority of your web browsing. It, as its default, blocks most of the pretty much all of the trackers and cookies that end up on your phone. And you pretty much have to go into the settings, and like, let's say you're maybe using online banking or something like that. Let's say you'd actually have to go into the settings and de-block the specific websites that you wanted full functionality at. So it really is probably a big upgrade in privacy for most people. So I just thought, as an aside, I would recommend that. So I typed the definition of anarcho-tyranny into Leo AI, and it blew my mind when the definition came back. So I'm going to read what it gave to me with my own additional commentary. It says, anarcho-tyranny is a concept that describes a stage of governmental dysfunction where the state is I'm probably going to not be able to pronounce this word, anarchically hopeless, unable or unwilling to effectively address and resolve large-scale societal problems such as crime, poverty, or corruption. That sounds like Canada, doesn't it? Ruthlessly tyrannical, vigilantly enforcing laws and regulations on small-scale issues such as minor infractions or perceived offenses, right? Think about all these gender issues that we've been having forced down our throats lately. Should you misgender somebody or dead name somebody? I mean, you could actually get in trouble for that if somebody thought that was intentional, right? Often with excessive force or arbitrary application. In an anarcho-tyranny system, the state fails to protect citizens from serious harm or violence, allowing criminal activity to flourish. And it's like every week, or even more than once a week, don't we hear about some heinous crime, some home invasion, some murder? Like, we just had a senseless murder here in Edmonton, just like, I think it was less than a week ago, right? And the government seems to be unwilling or unable to tackle these issues for some reason. It says, creates a culture of fear and intimidation where citizens are more likely to be harmed. Sorry, I missed a spot. It says, instead focuses on persecuting and punishing individuals for minor transgressions, often with disproportionate severity. Creates a culture of fear and intimidation where citizens are more likely to be harmed by the state's actions than by criminal activity. Examples of anarcho-tyranny can be seen in governments that prioritize weapon confiscation over addressing underlying social issues such as crime and poverty. Once again, is that not exactly where we're at here in Canada now? We have a liberal government that has lost control of the economy, inflation, crime, immigration. I could go on and on, right? And what do? They turn around and decide to ban guns because supposedly that's going to somehow help. Law enforcement agencies that are more effective at harassing and intimidating citizens than at preventing and investigating serious crimes. political systems that prioritize suppressing dissenting voices and opinions over addressing genuine societal problems. So think about the online censorship bills that Canada has recently passed or is in the process of passing. Hate speech bills, right? It's about suppressing free speech, suppressing dissent. They don't really seem to be interested in addressing actual real violent crime and things like that. The term anarcho-tyranny was coined by American paleoconservative writer Samuel T. Francis to describe this phenomenon, which he argued was characteristic of Western governments in the late 20th century. And, I would say that it's only gotten like 10 times worse in the 21st century. I often think back to the 80s and 90s as perhaps the golden age of Western civilization, where you had perhaps, a very, very high level, a standard of living in combination with, technology, and in combination with, a fairly high level of freedom, all kind of at once. And since the 21st century has started, it just seems to be this like steady decline in all those things, right? So anyways, I hope you learned something about anarcho-tyranny today. It's an idea that we need to get out to the general population and to be like a common word that people identify or associate with our culture and with the government. And I think once you know about and understand anarcho-tyranny, you start to see examples of it just constantly, day after day after day. So anyways, that's all for now. Take care, guys.